Today, we're talking about why smart people lose money. If you want to actually keep more of what you earn, you need to understand how your brain is wired against you. Now, look, I've gone through one of the most important psychology books ever written on this, Thinking Fast and Slow, by Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize winner. And it turns out there's only 4 mental traps that are draining your bank account right now without you even noticing. If you fix these 4, you will make better money decisions immediately, starting with the next purchase you make. So in this video, I'm going to break all 4 of them down with real examples, so you can spot them in your own life before they cost you again. Before I get into the 4 traps, let's quickly talk about why this even happens. Understanding this one thing will help you a ton. Your brain runs on 2 systems. Kahneman calls them System 1 and System 2. System 1 is fast, automatic, emotional. It's the part of you that flinches before you even think. System 2 is slow, deliberate, logical. It's the part of you that actually does the math. Here's the problem. System 1 is lazy, and System 2 doesn't show up unless you force it to. So almost every financial decision you make, buying a car, investing in a stock, signing a lease, is being made by the fast, emotional system, while you assume your slow, logical brain is in charge. It's not. And that gap between what you think is happening and what's actually happening is where all your money mistakes live. So the real question is this: how do you stop System 1 from quietly running your bank account? And that's exactly where the 4 money traps come in. Every single one of these is a System 1 shortcut that feels right in the moment and costs you in the long run. All right, the first money trap is called anchoring. And the good news is once you see it, you'll spot it everywhere. When I say anchoring, what I mean is that the first number you see for anything becomes the reference point your brain measures everything else against, even when that number is completely random. Here's an example to show you exactly how strong this is. Kahneman ran an experiment with a rigged wheel of fortune that could only land on 10 or 65. People spun it, then were asked to guess what percentage of countries in the UN are African nations. People who saw the wheel land on 65 guessed 45%. People who saw it land on 10 guessed 25%. The wheel had 0 relevant information. It's a number on a fairground game. But it still dragged people's answers toward it. That's anchoring, and it's not a flaw that only shows up in lab experiments. Now here's where it gets expensive. Real estate agents were shown the exact same house, with the exact same condition, but half were given a high asking price, and half were given a low one. The agents swore the asking price didn't affect their valuation. They insisted they were judging the house on its own merits. But the anchoring effect on their estimates was 41%. Professionals who do this for a living, fooled by a number on a piece of paper, and they didn't even know it was happening to them. This is happening to you every single day. The original price on a sale tag, the first number a car salesman throws out, the suggested tip amount on the card machine, even the asking salary listed on a job posting. Your brain locks onto that first number, and everything after it gets measured against it, not against what the thing is actually worth. So, to recap, money trap number 1 is anchoring. And the fix is this: before you accept any number as a reference point, deliberately ask yourself, where did this number actually come from? And would I have guessed the same value if I'd never seen it? If you can't answer that, you're not evaluating the price. You're just orbiting around someone else's number. All right, money trap number 2 is loss aversion. And this is one of the most well-documented findings in the entire book. When I say loss aversion, what I mean is that losing money hurts roughly twice as much, psychologically, as gaining the same amount of money feels good. Here's the exercise Kahneman uses to prove it. He asks people, what's the smallest gain you'd need to make a coin flip worth taking if the downside is losing $100? Most people don't say $100. They say around $200. That's the loss aversion ratio, somewhere between 1.5 and 2.5 times. Losing $100 feels worse than gaining $100 feels good, even though mathematically they're identical. Now here's why this actually drains your money. This is the exact psychology behind why people hold on to a losing stock way longer than they should. Selling it means admitting the loss is real and locking it in. So instead, people just hold it, hoping it bounces back, watching it sink further. because the pain of confirming the loss feels worse than the pain of the loss actually growing. It's also why people avoid checking their investment accounts during a downturn. Not because they're lazy, but because not looking lets them avoid feeling the loss, even while it's still happening in real numbers. So to recap, money trap number 2 is loss aversion, and the fix is to separate the decision from the emotion. Ask yourself, if I didn't already own this, would I buy it today at this price? If the answer is no, you're not holding an investment. You're avoiding a feeling. Now, before I go on to the last two, I want you to notice something. Both of these traps, anchoring and loss aversion, are not about being bad with numbers. Kahneman studied actual investment professionals, real estate agents, statisticians, and they fell for the exact same traps as everyone else. This isn't an intelligence problem, it's a wiring problem. And that's actually good news, because it means you don't need to become a finance genius to fix this. You just need to know where to look. All right, money trap number 3 is the endowment effect. This one is sneaky because it feels like loyalty, but it's actually just your brain overvaluing anything the moment you own it. Here's the experiment that proves it. Researchers gave one group of people a coffee mug for free. Then they asked that group the lowest price they'd sell it for, and they asked a second group, who didn't own the mug, the most they'd pay to buy it. The sellers wanted around $7. The buyers were only willing to pay around $3, same exact mug. The only difference was who currently owned it. The second someone's hand touched that mug, its value roughly doubled in their own mind. This is why people overvalue their own house when selling it. It's why people keep subscriptions, memberships, and old investments they don't even use anymore, simply because giving them up feels like losing something, even when keeping them is the actual loss. It's why a $200 concert ticket you already have suddenly feels like it's worth $3,000 the moment someone else offers to buy it from you, even though you'd never have paid $3,000 for it yourself. So to recap, money trap number 3 is the endowment effect. The fix is to mentally pretend you don't already own the thing. Ask yourself, if this wasn't mine right now, would I pay today's price to go get it? If the honest answer is no, ownership is the only reason you're still holding on. All right, the last money trap, and this is the one that quietly wrecks the biggest financial plans, is overconfidence, specifically what Kahneman calls the planning fallacy. This is when you estimate a financial outcome, a budget, a timeline, a return, and your estimate ends up suspiciously close to the best-case scenario, almost never the realistic one. Here's a real example. The Scottish Parliament building was originally budgeted at £40 million. The final cost came in at £431 million. That's not a rounding error. That's an entire decade of people confidently underestimating reality at every single stage. And it's not unique to government buildings. Homeowners who remodel their kitchens expect to pay around $18,000 on average. They actually end up paying close to $39,000, more than double, and these are people planning their own kitchen in their own house with full information. This is the same mental trap that makes people underestimate how much debt will actually cost them in interest, overestimate how fast their side hustle will become profitable, or assume they'll definitely start saving more once things settle down. Your brain doesn't plan based on statistics. It plans based on how good the story sounds in your head right now. So to recap, money trap number 4 is overconfidence, and specifically the planning fallacy. The fix is what Kahneman calls taking the outside view. Instead of asking, how long will this take me? Or how much will this cost me? Ask, how long did this take other people in similar situations? And how much did it actually end up costing them? Use other people's real outcomes as your baseline, not your own optimism. All right, guys, that's all 4 of them. As a quick recap, the 4 mental traps quietly draining your money are anchoring, loss aversion, the endowment effect, and overconfidence through the planning fallacy. None of these mean you're bad with money. They mean you're human, and your brain is running on shortcuts that were built for survival, not for spreadsheets. The good news is, just knowing the name of each one of these is half the battle. The next time you feel pulled toward a decision, pause and ask which of these 4 is actually talking. Is it the first number you saw, the fear of locking in a loss, the fact that you already own it, or a forecast that sounds a little too optimistic. If this gave you value, drop a comment and let me know which one of these four you caught yourself doing without even realizing it. I read every comment, and it genuinely helps me figure out what to cover next. And if you want to actually understand the psychology behind every decision you make with money, Thinking Fast and Slow is the book this entire video is based on, and it's worth the read. All right, with that, I'll see you in the next one.